Hey guys, it's Camry. So in this video, I'm going to be wrapping up what I read in May, as well as giving you my June TBR. A little side note, it is currently Thursday the 28th of May, so in this part I am just filming my June TBR because I have a readathon that is right at the beginning of June, so I want to make sure I have all of those books kind of locked down. But then I will be going back, and on the 31st of May, I'm going to do my wrap-up because I am still currently reading a book, and so I want to be able to include that if I do finish it. So if you notice that in the next part of the video I am wearing a different outfit, that is why. So I had 5 books on my TBR for May, and while I did read 5 books in May, I only actually read 4 off of my TBR. The one book I didn't read is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I have been trying so hard to read that book, and it seems like every time it gets put on my TBR, I somehow can't get to it, so now let's get into the books that I did read. The first book that I read in May is Inspection by Josh Malerman. I'm not going to get too into what this book is about. If you want to see that, you can go watch my May TBR video, but I did give this book 4 stars, mainly because of a spoiler. And it's not like I spoiled myself, which I mean I kind of did, but there is something that on the synopsis on the back cover that I think if they didn't include would have been an amazing mid-book twist. Because I had read the back cover and I knew it was coming throughout the whole first half of the book, I was like just waiting. I was like, when are they going to introduce this? When is this going to happen? And I think I just would have enjoyed the first half and also been so much more surprised and like into the second half of the book if I hadn't known that that was coming. Honestly, I'm pretty sure if I hadn't already known this, I would have given this book 5 stars. So I would say if you are going to read Inspection or you are interested in it or anything like that, just don't read the back synopsis. Just read the book. Just read it. I promise you'll love it. It's so good. The next book that I read, I'm sure you can guess from the blank space on my bookshelf, is A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. And as with all the other books in this series, I gave this a 5 star. It was just so good. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am a Jamie and Brienne stan, and I have been since the show, and so finally getting to see like their relationship, getting to things that I knew were gonna happen, and I'm just so excited to see them happen. And also like this book is when we finally get into the main big plot points in the novels that were not included in the show that I already knew a little bit about. Like seeing Dorne in this book, like, oh, like so much better. Like Dorne in this show is like complicated, the plot is good, the like sand snakes are good, hearing from their perspective, like there's just so much more going on that we don't get to see in the show. This book is just so good. I could honestly make an entire video just talking about this book. The next book that I read in May, I have an entire reading vlog about, which I will put up in the cards that you can watch me read it, enjoy it, read some other things, do some shopping for plants. It's a very exciting vlog. You should check it out. I read this book because of the TBR scavenger hunt that I filmed earlier this month, which I will also link that in the cards, and you can check that out. And that is The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby Dare. I gave this book 4 stars because I loved the writing style of this book. I love the characters. I love the story it told. I thought it was just so good, but I think it ended too soon. I wanted more from this book. And it wasn't like, oh, I just wish this book never ended because it was so good. I mean, that too. But like, I just felt unsatisfied with the ending. Like I was like, oh, that's it? We don't get to see this to completion? Like this whole story is about this girl's journey and wanting to get her education, and we don't get to actually like see her go, like, and see her get her education. That's really my 2 thoughts. 4 stars. The writing style was amazing, and this writing style was so interesting to me. I am interested to read other books from Abby Dare because of the writing style in this book and how interesting it was, and just how like perfectly it fit in with this book. The next book I read in May is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I gave this book 4.5 stars, and I am very interested in finishing this series, and I'm going to hopefully do that as soon as I can get my hands on the next book. I absolutely love this book, but I could not give it 5 stars because I didn't get that like magical, like, oh my gosh, this book is so amazing, I love it so much, it's my new favorite book, because of, and this is so disappointing, because of literally like the very last chapter in this book. Because it kind of introduces this almost like love triangle romance thing, and I am just so, like, I do not like love triangles. I just think that they're kind of cheesy and overdone, and I moved past those in middle school after I got through my dystopian phase, so I don't know, I just don't really like them. And then I just kind of feel like the romance in this book was like really rushed, and I can kind of understand that they're trying to set up for like stuff in later books, but it literally just came like right at the last second, like out of nowhere almost, and I just wasn't really here for it. But I am still open to the romance occurring in later books. I just almost wish that maybe it hadn't been introduced until like the beginning of the second book or something, just so it wouldn't feel so like out of nowhere and rushed at the end of this book. The final book that I read this month, I actually finished this yesterday, and that is Where They Found Her by Kimberly McCreight. So I will get a little bit into this book because this book was the one that was not included on my May TBR. This book follows Molly Anderson, who has recently become a reporter after her and her husband moved to a new town. She just recently went through a miscarriage. They had a stillborn very late into their pregnancy, and so she is still dealing with that when she gets a call in the middle of the night to get her first big break, which is the story of a dead body that they found in the river. And then it turns out that the dead body is a baby girl. So obviously this is very hard for her. It brings up a lot of emotions, but she is still determined to get to the bottom of this and to figure out what happened to this girl. I gave it 4 stars. It's really good, very intriguing. I was very invested the entire time. It's told from multiple perspectives, and then it also has journal entries from both Molly from her therapy sessions, and then Jenna, these are from 1994. It's just really interesting, and it's just a weaving plot thread of small town life, everybody knows everybody, everybody's lives are entangled, and they're all trying to figure out what happened to this baby girl, and also just what's going on in their own lives. They all have problems of their own. Overall, I just thought it was so good. The twist was really good too. It's really hard for me to give just straight up mystery novels 5 stars unless it just amazes me. If the twist is so good and just everything is just so out of nowhere, crazy, what's happening. That was all the books that I read in May. Like I said, A Feast for Crows was my favorite book that I read this month. It was the only book that I read that got 5 stars. Now, let's get into my June TBR. In June, I have 1 readathon and 1 reading vlog that I am planning, so I have quite a few books for June just for those 2, and then just a couple extra books.
I'm editing and I'm just now noticing that my drawer is open. Literally the entire part that I filmed about my June TBR. What's wrong with me? I don't understand, but I can't refilm it, so.
The first books that I'm going to read are for the Queer Lit Readathon, which runs from May 31st to June 6th. I have 2 books that I am for sure going to read for this readathon, and then a 3rd book that's a little bit of a bonus extra book if I finish the other 2. The first book that I am for sure going to read is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This book follows Rosemary Harper, who joins a spaceship crew on the Wayfarer, And so it's kind of a patched up ship with a mishmash of people living on it, of all sorts of species and personalities. And obviously it's a little bit chaotic and everything, and I'm pretty sure there's something that goes wrong with a job or something like that. But I have heard that there are multiple LGBTQ relationships in this book. The next book is going to be a reread of one of my favorite books, so I literally had to go and grab it off of that top shelf just now, and that is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which follows the son of a sea goddess and a king, Achilles. It's based off of Greek mythology, the myth of Achilles. In the Iliad, he has what is very clearly his lover, Patroclus, but it is not like explicit. But in this book, it is very explicit and very lovely, and I just love their relationship so much, and it's so sweet. So I am very excited to be rereading this for the Queer Lit Readathon. The final book that I will be reading if I finish my other two is Wild Beauty by Anne-Marie McLemore. This book follows these women who are like witches, and they find this boy named Fell, and so they live with only women, and they find it's kind of similar to like Wonder Woman-esque Amazon type thing. Yeah, and so I have heard that there are some like LGBT romances and a like bisexual character, but they are not main characters, so that is why this is kind of my like if I finish the other two books. And also obviously Anne-Marie McLemore is non-binary, and I've always wanted to get into their books, so I thought that this would be a good opportunity. The next 5 books in my TBR are for a reading vlog, which is kind of funny because I had already planned to do this reading vlog in June, and then we got a very special announcement about a new series coming on Disney Plus, so I thought it was perfect timing to be doing this. I'm going to be rereading the Percy Jackson series. I just thought that these would be like a nice thing I could they're all like really relatively easy reads, so I thought I could kind of get through that relatively quickly and have a good time with that, film a little reading vlog of me going through these. So we've got obviously the Lightning Thief, then the Sea of Monsters, and the Titan's Curse, the Battle of the Labyrinth, finally, the Last Olympian. So, I don't know if you've been living under a rock if you don't know what these books are about, but this is a middle grade series written by Rick Riordan that follows a boy named Percy Jackson, who discovers that he is the son of Poseidon and that there are all of these modern day children of gods, they're demigods, and there is this camp that they are all sent to, and it's just good, like an adventure Greek mythology, which I love. Clearly I'm already reading another book about Greek mythology in this month, and yeah, I'm just really excited to like jump back into these, and also get me excited for the Disney Plus series, which I'm hoping will be amazing because Rick Riordan is actually gonna like get some input and be like a major player in this series and all. Please, please, please let this series be good. I am so excited to see these books brought like to the screen. We all know about the movie adaptations and how terrible they are. We just pretend those don't exist. The final book that I have for this month, which is going to be my commuter book, which I also anticipate is going to take me at least 2 months to read, so this probably won't be featured in a wrap-up until July, maybe even August, who knows, and that is A Dance with Dragons by George R.R. Martin, the final book so far in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. So obviously I have the physical book, but I am mostly going to be going through this in audiobook form as I commute to and from work, because I have a half-hour commute, so that is perfect for reading this 960-page book. If you don't know already, who are you? Have you been living under a rock, similar to Percy Jackson? A Song of Ice and Fire is a series, you might know it from the very popular TV show Game of Thrones, which is actually finishing season 8 is what inspired me to read these books because, as we all know, that was just a very, very, very disappointing ending. And me and my roommate have been having very, very intense discussions because she is also reading this series. She is currently in the middle of Feast for Crows, about how with the events that transpire in the book that they don't cover in the show, there is literally no way that the ending of the show is even possible. And so I am just so excited to see where my man, George R.R. Martin, takes this series, because I just know it is going to be so much better than the show. A Dance with Dragons focuses on Daenerys and Tyrion, and then also Jon at the Wall. Basically, George R.R. Martin wrote A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons all as one book, and then you kind of realize, oh, both of these books together are like 2,000 pages. Maybe need to split that one up. So yeah, this follows all of the people that he didn't really address in A Feast for Crows and were not present. So also it has Bran, and yeah. So I'm just excited to get into it. Ooh, I did not realize this includes a sneak preview for Winds of Winter. I'm pretty sure I probably already read this on his... Yes, I have, on his website. But also, the thing I'm excited about with this is George R. R. Martin has been saying, he said even before all of this pandemic stuff was going on, that he was wanting to have Winds of Winter, which is the 6th book in A Song of Ice and Fire, and that would mean there's only A Dream of Spring, the final book, left. He said that he wanted to have it done by a convention in Australia or New Zealand that is at the end of July. He wanted to have the final, like, to have the manuscript all finished so he could, like, take it with him and be like, I'm done! And which would then allow them to have, like, a Christmas release. And then, with everything, with the global pandemic happened, he posted on his blog and everything that said that with quarantine, obviously, he is an old man and he is high risk, so he has really not been leaving his house, and he's just been staying home and working on Winds of Winter and presumably a little bit of A Dream of Spring at the same time, because these books are so interconnected that you really have to have it like all planned out. And I'm just excited, and I'm glad that it's like taken me as long to read this series as it has, because I started A Game of Thrones in May, and it is now the end of May in 2020, and I'm anticipating I won't finish this until end of July, early August. So yeah, but I'm excited because that means I'm hoping I'll like finish A Dance with Dragons like right at the same time that he announces that he has finished Winds of Winter, and so then I only have to wait a couple of months, and then I can pick up Winds, and then I can just read it all. I'm just so excited, and oh my gosh. This is my TBR for June. Obviously looks a little big, but it's fine. It's really not actually that big because, you know, if you cut this book in half, because I'm definitely not going to be able to finish it, and then, you know, you can take this book off, it's fine. It's really not that big. It's only 9 books. Like, what? It's not even that big. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please comment down below if you read any of the books that I did in May, what you thought of them, and also comment your thoughts on the books I'm reading in June, and just comment any reading recommendations, anything like that that has to do with reading. I will be happy to hear it. Please follow me on all my social media listed right here. You can tweet at me about your book thoughts. You can tag me in your Instagram stories about your reading. I don't know, anything you want to do, I don't care. I'm happy to have you. And I hope you guys all enjoyed that video, and you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you all soon. Bye!